the whole of Mary Fitzgerald was completely covered in various regalias. Those were March and March, who was the leaders of the march. We also saw some of the Action SA members. Quite a number of people from Action SA had come out, and it would of course explain, because of the fact that there is a form of alignment, especially with Action SA when it comes to immigration issues. We also saw MK, which was also part of that protest. Along those sides, we also saw labor movement, civic movement, as well as various community-based NGOs that were part of this movement, or rather this march. But what we saw as well was that the leadership separated into two. We saw a part where we had the march that was led by Jacinda, but also we saw Jacinda Ngobese Zuma, who is the founder of March and March, but also we saw a march that was led by Ngizwe Mchunu, of course, him as well as Phakela, and we know that they were basically leading those that were coming from the hostels around Johannesburg, which also saw a route that was supposed to be taken almost completely ignored. We were told that they were moving towards Hillbrow, so they moved from Braamfontein, from Mary Fitzgerald to Brierank, which is quite a busy area, all the way to Braamfontein, which is mostly where you would find a lot of students. But as they moved across, you would see that most of the shops were closed. You could see a lot of people were quite concerned and watching everything quite closely. And we went on to Hillbrow, and this is where we saw a show of force. By that time, the numbers had multiplied. Now, the area in Hillbrow was basically the area that was targeted, mainly because it's always seen as an area that has quite a number of people that are migrants, but also it is highlighted, according to them, that that's where you see quite a lot of undocumented people. But also at the same area, you see quite a number of hijacked buildings. Now, we have been there with NMC previously to look at some of those buildings, so there are quite a number of issues in the area. So this is where then we saw the march take a U-turn coming back to the legislature, and this is where the memorandum of demands were then given to the current premier, who was also not so accepted in that march. Quite a lot of people booing him off the stage and not listening, quite frankly, in terms of what he had to say. But that memorandum of demand then was given to the Premier Panyaza Lesufi, and we saw also Mashaba, which is Herman Mashaba of Action SA, also speaking to the crowds. But basically, they're saying that they want to see mass deportation, they want to see the government taking charge with regards to the immigration issues, they want to see some of the BMA being funded, as well as having more of the manpower in terms of security, so anyone who is at the port to fall under BMA. They also want to see South Africans being prioritized when it comes to employment, but also where there is where there's scarce skills, then you can also employ those that are on the outside. But if there's no scarce skills, then South Africans must be employed. But I want you to listen a little earlier as we spoke to some of those that were part of the march, exactly what brought them there.